Most people believe money is something physical, paper in your wallet, coins in your pocket, numbers in your account. You're taught it comes only from hard work, time, and sacrifice. Society praises the grind. It tells you that only through struggle can you earn security. But this version of reality is incomplete and often misleading. What if money isn't material but energetic? Modern research in behavioral economics shows that financial behavior is driven more by emotion than logic. The way you feel about money often defines how it flows or doesn't flow into your life. This means your internal state, not just external effort, shapes your financial experience. From childhood, you inherited beliefs disguised as facts. Money doesn't grow on trees. You have to work twice as hard to get half as much. These messages weren't just advice. They became programming, and like software running in the background, they dictate your choices without your awareness. But money doesn't respond to exhaustion. It responds to energy. Look at the world. Some people attract wealth easily, while others struggle endlessly. It's not always education or talent that makes the difference. It's frequency. Those who prosper are not necessarily working harder. They're aligned with abundance. Their inner world reflects trust, clarity, and confidence. That alignment influences everything: posture, language, decisions, even body chemistry. Money mirrors your state of being. If your energy is full of doubt, fear, or guilt, your financial results will echo those patterns. If you radiate certainty and worth, your environment shifts to match. This isn't about pretending to be rich. It's about embodying the mindset of someone who allows wealth to flow, not by force, but by design. Money is not chasing effort. It gravitates toward alignment. It moves where there is clarity, intention, and space for it to arrive. So if you've ever felt there must be another way, a way that doesn't drain your soul, you're not imagining it, you're remembering it. And it's time to return to that truth. If this message resonates with you, consider subscribing to the channel. It's a simple way to stay connected to content that speaks to your deeper truth. Scarcity isn't natural, it's learned. From the moment you're born, your environment begins shaping your perception of money. Every overheard argument about bills, every sigh about expenses, every passing comment like, "We can't afford that," plants a seed. These impressions settle deep within your subconscious, long before you understand what money even is. Psychological studies reveal that by age 7, most people have already formed their core beliefs about wealth. These beliefs operate silently, guiding decisions in adulthood without conscious awareness. You think you're being rational. In truth, you're following invisible scripts written decades ago. The scarcity code works like a virus. It hides inside language. Rich people are greedy. You need to suffer to earn. Only a few make it. These phrases are repeated so often they sound like facts, but repetition isn't truth, it's just programming. To break free, you must become aware of the patterns running your life. Ask yourself, who told me money is hard to get? Whose fears am I still carrying? Whose limitations have I adopted as my own? You can't change what you won't name. Awareness is the first step to transformation. Once you see a belief clearly, it begins to lose control over you. You realize it's not a law, it's a habit of thought, and habits can be changed. Rewriting your inner narrative isn't about positive thinking, it's about shifting frequency. Saying, "I am abundant" without feeling it does nothing. You must generate the emotional signal. Belief isn't words, it's energy. Start simple. Recognize where abundance already exists. A safe place to sleep, a meal on your table, a moment of peace. These are not small, they are evidence. When you acknowledge them, you amplify them. Your nervous system learns through repetition and emotion. So feed it new signals. Speak to yourself with intention. Replace doubt with clarity. Trade fear for presence. Every time you do, your energetic signature changes, and the universe always responds to signature. Scarcity isn't your truth. It's your training, and training can be undone. Many people believe they must choose between wealth and spirituality, as if abundance and integrity can't exist in the same space. This belief didn't arise by accident. It was carefully embedded through religion, culture, and tradition to keep people modest, dependent, and controllable. Phrases like, "money is the root of all evil," or "it's harder for a rich man to enter heaven," were never meant to be universal truths. They were tools designed to create guilt around prosperity and elevate suffering as a sign of virtue. But sacrifice is not the measure of spiritual worth. True spirituality expands you. It aligns you with life, creativity, flow. And in nature, alignment is abundance. Look around. One apple tree doesn't produce just enough for itself. It overflows with fruit. A single sunflower contains hundreds of seeds. Nature doesn't ration. It expresses in surplus. Scarcity is not holy. It's unnatural. When your spirit aligns with truth, prosperity follows, not as a prize, but as a reflection. You're not rewarded with money for being good. You receive because your energy becomes open, stable, generous. The flow doesn't stop with you, it moves through you. Prosperity is not selfish. In the hands of a conscious soul, money becomes medicine. It funds healing. It supports others. It creates space for rest, art, and service. Wealth doesn't disconnect the spiritual. It amplifies their impact. But to access this level of abundance, you must release the guilt tied to receiving. You are not less sacred when you thrive. You are not more enlightened when you struggle. Struggle often signals misalignment, not nobility. Real spiritual power is not measured in silence or sacrifice. It's measured in resonance, in how fully you live, give, and express. When you thrive, you give others silent permission to do the same. Your expansion creates room for theirs. The world doesn't benefit from your lack. It grows through your radiance. Wealth isn't a detour from the path. It's part of it, a tool to build, to uplift, to embody the divine in motion. Money doesn't move because of effort. It moves because of energy. Every transaction you participate in, whether buying, selling, giving, or receiving, is an exchange of frequency. The product or service is just the surface. What truly transfers is energy, intention, emotion, presence. People don't just pay for results, they pay for how you make them feel. A study from Harvard Business School found that consumers are more likely to purchase when they feel emotionally connected to a brand, even if it costs more. This reinforces what mystics and marketers alike understand. Value is not about price, it's about resonance. A simple act done with presence carries more weight than a complex one done with resistance. A handmade gift can mean more than an expensive item. A sincere word can shift a room more than a sales pitch. This is the essence of energetic commerce. When you work without alignment, just to survive, your energy becomes fragmented. You feel drained, unseen, undervalued. But when you offer something from clarity and passion, even a small gesture becomes magnetic. The energy behind the act is what people truly respond to. That's why undercharging isn't humility. It's energetic misalignment. It sends a signal that you doubt your value, and the world reflects that back. Charging with confidence, on the other hand, isn't arrogance. It's a declaration of worth, rooted in service. The universe doesn't operate on discounts. It mirrors your internal belief system. If you undervalue your contribution, others will too, not because it's not worthy, but because your energy told them not to trust it. The key is coherence. Your offering, your price, and your presence must align. When they do, you won't need to convince. You'll attract. You don't compete by being louder. You stand out by being clearer. No one can replicate your frequency. That is your edge. So whatever you do, coach, teach, write, build, ask yourself what energy lives inside your work. What message do your words, your touch, your presence carry? Because in a world saturated with noise, Energy is the currency that cuts through, and alignment is the signal that makes abundance inevitable. We live in a world overflowing with signals, conversations, media, emotions, opinions. Each one carries a vibration. Most go unnoticed consciously, but your nervous system feels them all. Without realizing it, you absorb the collective energy around you. This is called entrainment, the biological tendency of your system to sync with its environment. Walk into a crowded store or chaotic office, and you may feel drained without speaking to anyone. It's not in your head, it's energetic reality. When you're surrounded by scarcity-based thinking, stress, urgency, fear, you begin to harmonize with it unless you've trained your frequency to stand on its own. Resonating abundance means becoming the strongest signal in the room, not by dominating, but by anchoring. It's not about forcing positivity, it's about choosing presence, choosing calm, choosing clarity in the middle of chaos. This is a daily practice. Begin your day by aligning with gratitude, not just listing what you're thankful for, but truly feeling it. That emotional state becomes your baseline. From there, you influence the room instead of being shaped by it. You don't need to shout your value. When you're energetically rooted, people sense it, opportunities respond, resources shift. You stop chasing and start magnetizing. Real abundance doesn't scream. It whispers with certainty. It's reflected in the way you speak, move, give, and receive. It's visible in the care you put into your surroundings, even small things. A clean space, a thoughtful reply, a meal prepared with peace. These aren't luxuries, they're confirmations of internal wealth. Many confuse abundance with excess. They believe wealth requires flashy displays, but spending without alignment leads to depletion, not prosperity. Energy out of integrity always creates imbalance. True wealth expresses itself in elegance, not excess. A single, well-chosen item can reflect more self-worth than a dozen bought in desperation. What matters is not the cost, but the intention. Every decision is a declaration. Every purchase, gesture, or response either reinforces your identity or weakens it. The world reads these signals even when no one is watching. When you hold a steady, abundant frequency, you become a point of coherence in a dissonant world. And from that stillness, everything begins to shift in your favor, not by force, but by resonance. Abundance isn't something you chase. It's something you attract by becoming the version of yourself who already lives in it. Your identity is the blueprint of your reality. It silently instructs your actions, decisions, and expectations. And while most people try to change their income, their habits, or even their strategy, few ever look at the deeper layer, the identity they've unconsciously accepted as truth. Who do you believe you are when no one is watching? That belief runs everything. If you see yourself as someone who barely gets by, your nervous system will reject anything that contradicts that belief, even opportunities that could change your life. If you think wealth belongs to others, but not to you, you'll sabotage abundance every time it approaches. The market doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to who you are being. Magnetic identity is built through alignment, not appearance. It's not about pretending to be successful. It's about becoming someone who knows they're worthy of success before the world validates it. This begins with clarity. Vague goals lead to vague outcomes. Define who you are becoming. How does that version of you think? How do they speak, walk, make decisions? Then begin acting from that frequency now, not later. Create physical environments that reinforce your identity. Clear your space. Organize your tools, upgrade what you can. These are not aesthetic changes, they are messages to your subconscious. You're telling your nervous system, this is who I am now. Speak with intention, move with presence, make choices from vision, not fear. The more consistently you embody your future self in the present, the faster reality catches up. Remember, magnetism isn't about a single moment of confidence. It's about sustained coherence. Anyone can start strong, but the ones who stay rooted, especially when doubt arises, become unshakable. Your posture sends a signal. Your tone sets the mood. Your decisions create a ripple. When all of these align, you become undeniable, not because you're louder, but because you're clear. Build your identity deliberately, reinforce it daily, hold it steady, until the world has no choice but to reflect it back. Wealth is not the destination, it's the current. Those who understand this no longer see money as something to hold, but as something to direct. They don't ask how to get more, they ask how to move it wisely, how to allow it to serve, multiply, and uplift. True abundance is not measured by accumulation, but by circulation. Still water becomes stagnant, hoarded wealth loses vitality. The more you try to control money from fear, the faster it slips through your fingers. Flow, by contrast, generates life. When money moves through purpose, supporting ideas, helping others, funding healing, it expands in every sense. Not just numerically, but energetically. Every dollar becomes a seed, and seeds planted in alignment don't just grow, they multiply. Financial flow begins with internal stability. If you carry unresolved guilt, fear, or shame, money will reflect that turbulence. You may attract it temporarily, but you won't hold it. It will mirror your fragmentation. But when you stand in integrity, with clear intent and emotional clarity, you become a channel, not a dam. Wealth moves through you with grace, not pressure. This is why mastering money requires mastering self. A study from the Global Financial Literacy Excellence Center, GFLEC, found that emotional regulation has a stronger long-term impact on financial well-being than income level alone. In other words, how you feel and think shapes your wealth more than how much you earn. In times of uncertainty, those with inner stability don't panic, they adapt, they lead. While others freeze, they respond with clarity. Liquidity, preparation, and presence become their advantage, not to dominate, but to build what others can rely on. The world is shifting, systems are changing, currencies are evolving, but those who understand energy will navigate the future with certainty. They won't be defined by what they collect, but by what they contribute. Mastery of flow is not about control, it's about coherence. When your energy, vision, and action align, money becomes a mirror, not of struggle, but of expansion. You stop surviving, you begin creating, and in that space, wealth is no longer a goal. It is who you've become. If this content made sense to you, don't stop here. Go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future content. Now watch this next video where I'll show you another essential step to transform your reality. I'll see you there.